Thanks to those joining me live and to those joining me on archive. DStyleBoxing here. If you're watching archive, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and thumbs up the video. Check it out. So I was reading some stuff here, and it looks like Vince McMahon, chairman of the board of the WWE, has stepped down from his post as as far as being in charge of 205 Live, which is the cruiserweight wrestling show that's available in the WWE network. All right. Also, it looks like he's stepping down from some other positions within the WWE. Now, it was not that long ago that Vince McMahon did a press conference announcing he should be relaunching the XFL, a whole new, brand new XFL, and he was asked a whole lot of questions, but one question in particular that was asked to him by a reporter, I believe it was even a female reporter, she had asked, is this going to take up any of your time as far how is it going to affect your time in the WWE? And Vince clearly said this will not affect what he's doing in the WWE whatsoever. None. Zilch. Zero. Nada. Right? Well, apparently that's obviously not true. Unless it's just some coincidental correlation, that would have happened anyway. Who knows? But I mean, what a coincidence! It looks like Vince McMahon. I mean, the thought of him taking out $100 million of his own money to start investing into a league that's going to launch 2 years from now. I highly doubt that he's going to have the same amount of time that he's had prior as far as what he was doing in the WWE. If he doesn't want this thing to fail, the XFL again, why would he, not commit a lot of his time to it? Let me say this. I didn't watch the whole show. I didn't have time. However, "205 Live", I saw portions of the last show. It's only 50 minutes. I probably saw like 20 minutes combined. It's a better show. It just feels different. It doesn't have Vince McMahon all over it. Written all over it, that is. Doesn't mean I'm going to start watching 205 Live. Don't get me wrong. All right. I only have room for so many things to watch in my time. 205 Live on the network isn't one of them. Right. But apparently Triple H has taken over 205 Live now. And there's a lot of people out there that don't like Triple H. But I'm telling you right now, this guy has done a phenomenal job with NXT. He's done a phenomenal job when he set up the Cruiserweight Classic. And look, Triple H and a team got together. They sought out some of the best, what you would call cruiserweights in the WWE in the world. And they did this. They scoured the earth to find these athletes, these wrestlers, to have this Cruiserweight Classic that happened last year. I watched the Cruiserweight Classic. Man, was that a breath of fresh air. Easily some of the best matches I've ever seen, especially for WWE. It was a great tournament. It was exciting. It was about wrestling. I enjoyed it. Okay. Now, look, I'm not naive. I know that on USA Network, it can't just be just about the wrestling. I get that. There's entertainment value as well and promos and other stuff. I get that, of course. However, the wrestling is terrible on TV. All right. It's atrocious. It's garbage. It's trash. It's vomit. It's diarrhea, right? But here's my thing. Vince McMahon is hurting his own product. He's out of touch, right? He is out of touch. Vince's ideas are so outdated, it's not even funny. Vince took something that was great in the Cruiserweight Classic. And then once he was put in charge of these cruiserweights, I mean, the whole thing went to hell. The Cruiserweight Classic was a success. Vince gets in charge of 205 Live. They put the cruiserweights on Monday Night Raw. And just as I expected, and many of these things I predicted, they just got the whole thing wrong. Vince thought that if he puts Enzo Amore as a champion because he's a character, because he's got personality, and which even that I thought was overrated, but that's not why people want to watch cruiserweights. That's not why people want to watch cruiserweights. It's not. Let the cruiserweights be the workhorse. Let them be the ones that come out and give you the match of the night all the time. That's what makes them special. That's not what Vince wanted to do. If anybody ever has time, I mean, look up like the Alexander Ibushi fight. Alexander Ibushi match, and catch it here on YouTube if you could find it, or on the network. That's a phenomenal match. I mean, they had some great matches there, and they did nothing with it because Vince McMahon was in charge. People need to understand, Vince McMahon is from the Northeast. Now, there's nothing wrong with being from the Northeast, okay? Somebody's going, yo, I'm from there. Like, no, that's not what I mean. What I'm saying is he's from the Northeast in relevance too, okay? So don't get mad, right? In relevance to wrestling. From the territory days, since Worldwide, Wrestling Federation, right? Worldwide Wrestling, whatever the hell they called it, with Vince's grandfather. Since those days, that region was all about the big men, okay? It was always about the big guys. Since those days. Like, everyone understood the Northeast, you have to be a big jacked up dude if you want to, work for Vince. I don't know if that dude's name was Vince, but whatever. And when Vince Sr. took over, again, it was about big dudes. That's what it was about. It was known as that territory. When Vince McMahon took over, he loved big guys. Vince loves bodybuilders, right? That's Vince's mentality. This is not about anything being wrong with that, but just to tell me that Vince McMahon understands how to do something with a cruiserweight division, he's the last guy you want to have handle the cruiserweight division. He is the last guy that should be in charge of that. All of a sudden, Triple H takes over, and it just feels different and having better matches. And apparently, they're going to have the final of this tournament at WrestleMania. Hopefully, they don't do something stupid and put in the pre-show. And if they do, that's definitely that's Vince's call. The Cruiserweight final, right, should be the opening match at WrestleMania. That's what it should be. Period. It'll set the tone. It'll start everything. It'll get everything electrified from the beginning. We'll see what they do. They'll probably put in the pre-show. I almost put my money on that. But it's good to see now. Vince is still in charge of Monday Night Raw, from what I understand, right? I pray to God that he relinquishes that. And I mean, think about it. This guy's in charge of everything, and almost everything good that happened in that company that they've done on the network, Vince has scrapped because he personally didn't like it. Vince got rid of Talking Smack. Why? Who fucking knows? He never watched it. He saw it one time and said, I don't like this. We're going to end it. Okay. Now, me personally, I mean, I don't think they should do it all the time, but you know, once in a while, it's fine. I am convinced that, look, do I think Vince is purposely sabotaging his product? No. Okay. That would be asinine for him to do that. But he clearly, and you could say this because of his age or whatever, but he clearly, the system that they have right now doesn't allow for anyone to challenge him. No one's there challenging Vince McMahon. His daughter, who wants to inherit the company, okay, along with her husband, Triple H, right, is in charge of creative. Why? Who fucking knows? Look, I don't agree with everything Vince Russo says. I don't, right? But make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. He's right about this one. What credentials does Stephanie McMahon have other than coming from Vince's, a ball sack? Other than that, what credentials does she have to be the head of creative? You want to know why the company is so stale? You want to know why the company is so predictable? You want to know why they always, everybody always makes fun of I forgot his name, last name long, that always did tag team matches. But you know why they always do these, it's always the same thing, right? This is how they do matches now. One guy walks out, he's talking, and then they even plan out the whole interruption. Because they'll stop talking. It's like they're waiting for the cue, and then the music hits, and another guy comes out. And he starts talking, and then he gets interrupted. Another guy comes out, and another guy comes out. Before you know it, there's a whole ring full of guys wanting the title shot. And then they do a six-pack challenge. How often have you seen that happen on TV? A lot, right? And whether you see it directly or subconsciously, right, when you kind of keep watching that over and over again, it devalues the whole, chasing the title. Under Stephanie McMahon, the good old chase has disappeared. It's gone. It's gone. For those that don't know what the chase is, right? When you do a long storyline of a wrestler that's trying to catapult himself to win the world championship. So he gets in a little bit of a winning streak. Might even win like the Intercontinental title or something. Okay? But it's a long, it's beyond the storyline. Okay, it's the perception you're selling to people. When people are like, yeah, once people start telling themselves, yeah, I'd like to see that guy as champion. Okay? And then as he keeps talking, like I'm aiming for the championship. Finally gets a number one contendership match. Wins that match. And you sound like it's a long, hard road, and it makes the title match mean more. That's gone. Guys just get a title shot like nothing now. You lose? Oh, well, next weekend you can win the six-pack challenge. You'll get a title shot. Not to worry. Winning and losing, 50-50 booking, that is all Stephanie McMahon. I'm not going to act like everything was perfect before Stephanie, but it was a lot better. But that, at the end of the day, that's Vince's call. And if you don't believe, as bad as I think Vince is, he's definitely better at creative than Stephanie, right? And if you don't it's his daughter, and if you honestly believe that he's inclined to tell her, no, that's a horrible idea, especially in front of people, right? More so than he would with anybody else, then you're crazy, right? Then you're nuts. Vince is a ruthless guy when it comes to business. I mean, this is the same guy, right, that told Vince Russo, like when Vince Russo came to him and said, I want more time with my family, okay, he told him to get a nanny, that he gave him a raise so he could pay for a nanny. That's the same guy, right, that we're talking about. You think he tells Stephanie to find a nanny when she says, I want to spend more time with the kids, his grandchildren? He can't be the same ruthless Vince McMahon. And, of course, over time, it softened him up. Now, at the end of the day, everything is always Vince's call in the end. But when you have so many writers, you don't need 30 writers to write a wrestling show. You just don't. And no, more isn't better. What type of a stupid logic is that? More writers is better. Says who? When have you heard of a best-selling book that was written by 30 people? Like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, what? Are you shitting me? Look, I get it. That's why you have a writer for Raw, and that's why you have a writer for SmackDown. You have one for 205 Live. That's their job. If you want to have a co-writer, someone that they kind of do this with, that's fine. But you don't need 30. I mean, that is insane. And it's not as much as people think, because they shouldn't be scripting these fucking promos. Guys should be given a bulletin and basically told, this is basically what I want you to say. You have 5 minutes to do it before this music hits. All right? Let this shit be organic. They're having to write everything. That's why they sound corny. All right? They see these corny things, and you're like, what the fuck did he just say? Are you shitting me? Look, I'm going to play something right now. This was from a Monday Night Raw. This is the example I'm going to give you is something that they just don't do anymore. Okay? Now, before I play this, don't have guys, just jump each other, or, like, they'll have them, in a team up or some bullshit like that, or an attack team match, or just dumb shit like that, or cut stupid promos in the ring that are obviously scripted, right? That's what they do now. They'll do these stupid contract signings that always ends up with a table being flipped over and tossed to the side, or somebody gets put through that table, or somebody gets knocked out their chair. Like it's always the same bullshit every single time, right? I'm gonna play this. All right, let's play it right now.
Defending the WWF title against Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Reliant Astrodome on Sunday, April 1st.
Let me give you a rundown here. This is before WrestleMania 17. This is before, all right? Before Stephanie was fully in charge. I just want people to understand that, to put context into that, okay? But you're not in charge of creative. And notice, what you're about to hear, they don't do stuff like this anymore. They don't do it anymore. This is The Rock versus Stone Cold, by the way.
Before we do, Rock, tonight, you have a heck of a tall order ahead of you because you're in a handicap match against two men, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, as ordered by Commissioner Regal. Now, Steve, I don't know how much stroke I have with the commissioner these days, but would you be willing to step up and be the Rock's tag team partner tonight?
Whoa, Jim. You don't have to ask Stone Cold that. You should ask me that. I don't need a partner. I don't want a partner. And at this point in time, he'd be the last guy I would ever want as a tag team partner. You gonna answer all my questions? Did you ask me the question?
Yes, I did.
You gonna answer all my questions?
Well, perhaps I should have asked The Rock the question. So obviously it wasn't a good question, and that's my responsibility. WrestleMania, April 1st, without a doubt, this is the most eagerly anticipated main event in WrestleMania history. This certainly could be the biggest WrestleMania in World Wrestling Federation history as well. What does Rock the WWF Championship as a professional, what does it mean to you being the WWF champion? What does that title mean to you?
Well, being the WWF champion solidifies the fact that you are at the mountaintop, solidifies the fact that you've grabbed that brass ring. It's something I've worked very hard for my entire life because I grew up in the industry. That's the reason why I'm here in the WWF. So being the WWF champion solidifies the fact that I'm the absolute best.
Steve, on SmackDown last week, you spoke of this hellacious journey personally for you back. Have you changed your thoughts about what this match means in the last 7 days since we talked about it?
Well, I didn't change a damn thing about what I thought. It means Stone Cold Steve Austin is back. I can stop talking about it. The journey's over. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock for the World Wrestling Federation title. That's what it is.
It certainly seems to me, and certainly not degrading the WWF title, because that's it. Anybody that passes through the doors of the WWF, as you have said, Steve, should be here for one thing and one thing only. That's to become the WWF champion.
So we're going to stop it for there. I'll play the rest a little bit. But see, notice a couple of things, okay? One, they're not scripted, okay? They're not being told what to say word for word. Now, I'm not saying they didn't tell them, hey, make sure you say something along these lines, keep it along these lines or whatever, because this is important you say this specific thing, just for storyline purposes or whatever, right? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they have some type of bulletin, even though I really don't think they did, right? I don't know if JR actually wrote these questions or not, okay, or whatnot. Whether they had the questions ahead of time or that, who knows, okay? But this is not the level of scripted that you see today, okay, in this trash of a product, right? And then notice the other thing. Notice that, they're selling tension, okay? You see, today, when you have somebody like Stephanie McMahon in charge, right? You get this idea that tension means that, they're going to start throwing blows, like every single time. Well, you can't just go straight to that. I mean, that's people need to anticipate that, right? Like it's not like you just give it to them right off the bat. Okay, like you want to sell that there's tension in the air. And notice they did this in an intimate setting. Okay, you could hear the crowd in the background, but they're not around an arena. Okay, they're not trying to play to a crowd. They're simply answering these questions. They're doing a good job selling tension. Okay, and also they're putting the title over. It's about the title. Like the title means you're the best in the world. Period. So as long as I have this belt, it gives me the satisfaction of knowing that I'm the best. And obviously Stone Cold, okay, is saying that he's ready to take that title back. So they're selling that they have tension over the fact that The Rock has a championship and Stone Cold wants that championship. That's it. No crazy storyline. Okay, like no crazy off the wall, drama or soap opera. Okay, that's all it is, and it's a working formula. It works. This pay-per-view sold over 1 million buys. Do people not understand that? It's a wrestling pay-per-view, and it did over 1 million buys, people. At the time was the only pay-per-view for wrestling that did over 1 million buys. That is absolutely insane. This was 17 years ago. WrestleMania 1 happened the same amount of time ago as this happened today. All right, think about that.
it seems to me that thanks to Mr. McMahon assigning Stone Cold's wife, Deborah, as The Rock's manager, that has heightened, to me, the personal animosity, the personal issue between the two of you.
Well, it's heightened a lot of things. It's heightened the animosity, professional as well as personal. The fact of the matter is this, is I never asked for Deborah to be my manager, never wanted Deborah to be my manager, and I'll go on the record as saying I have no problem with Deborah personally or professionally for that matter. But the fact of the matter is this, is she's not my responsibility. She's not my wife. She's your wife.
Let me go on record as saying that I don't like the fact that my wife is your manager because there's a conflict of interest there. If she's supposed to be your manager and I'm wrestling you for the World Wrestling Federation Championship at WrestleMania, yeah, that's a problem. That's a big problem. But I expect that my wife should have a career and all more power to her. I'm getting a little worked up here. I just try to settle down. And I'll tell you right now, I like the tone in your voice when you mention my name or my wife.
Well,
you might want to take a little bass out of your voice.
Well, I might not.
Let me go ahead and cut you off here. Let's just go ahead and take Deborah out of the equation. Bam, she's non-factor. The fact is, Rock, you got the WWF title, and I...
Now notice this. So in today's WWE, Stone Cold will be told what to say. So it's clear to me that Vince McMahon, of all people, decided that for some reason that this feud with Stone Cold and The Rock needed some spice. So somehow he had assigned Deborah to be The Rock's manager. Look, man, those 1 million buys, not one buy, not one, was because, oh my God, I got to see this because Deborah is the wife's manager now. Not one buy. Okay, nobody bought it because Deborah was involved in the storyline. And you notice that, you know, Stone Cold touched on it, because it was probably in the bulletin, but notice what he did at the end. He said, non-factor. The bottom line is, you have that belt. He went straight to that. Wrestlers can't do that today. They're told what to say. Right? Could you imagine the corny shit some stupid writer, okay? And I always laugh because, you know, these writers, like, they'll come up with the most corny shit. Could you just imagine what some corny-ass, nerdy writer would tell Stone Cold what to say and The Rock what to say? 90% of the focus of the storyline would have been about Deborah being the manager, right? They would have had The Rock say something about Deborah and how she looks and this, that. They would have done something stupid like that. So that's why I said it's never been perfect. Deborah being the manager was an unnecessary part. It never had to happen. It was a waste of time, a waste of air. Okay? But notice that he just reverted back to the point that matters.
Want it. Can we change the scenario? No. Just don't even worry about that. Just don't even go there. You got what I want. Enough said about that.
What do you? People are wondering what this animosity. Do you hate each other personally? What do you think of this man? He is the champion personally, as a human being.
Personally, what I think about The Rock?
Right.
He's probably a wonderful human being and a credit to the human race and a lot of people's views. In my opinion, I care less about The Rock. Personally.
Your thoughts on Stone Cold as a human being, Rock? I know you're.
You know, it's no mystery. There's no mystery how I feel about Stone Cold. There's no mystery how Stone Cold feels about The Rock. We've gone from good to bad, bad to good. We've done it all across the whole spectrum. But the fact of the matter is this: professionally, I've earned his respect. Professionally, he's earned mine. When we get in that ring together, he brings out the best in The Rock. The Rock brings out the best in Stone Cold, no question. Personally, I don't like him.
I don't think we need to let this degenerate.
I'm trying to be a pro over here, right?
I hope
I ain't gonna last much longer. Keep sassing me.
Well, let's focus back on WrestleMania.
How come you never asked what the belt meant to me?
All right, good
You
question.
said what's it like to be back at WrestleMania? Ask me what the belt meant to me.
What does it do?
I'll paraphrase everything he said. It means I'm the #1 in the industry. Bottom line. That's my opinion what the belt means to me. I just thought you should ask me the question, too.
Oh,
A little one-sided here, if you ask me.
All right, well, I'll ask you another question if you don't mind. And that question is, as the challenger, the onus is going to be on you in the Astrodome at WrestleMania because we're looking at one fall, 60-minute time limit. He's the WWF champion. He doesn't have to beat you, but you damn sure got to beat him. Strategically, does that change game plans, mindset, or is it still full speed ahead?
It's full speed ahead because when I get in there with The Rock in the Astrodome, 65,000 screaming fans watching every single move that happens in that ring, yeah, I got to beat that man. I've never wrestled an hour in my life, but if that's what it takes to get the job done, that's exactly what I'll do. My strategy is to go in there, do whatever it takes to beat The Rock. 1, 2, 3 to become the World Wrestling Federation champion.
Rock, without revealing your hand and your strategy, your mindset as far as your approach to this as competitor to competitor.
Revealing my hand and my strategy. The fact of the matter is this, is you brought up a very good point, Jim Ross, is that The Rock doesn't have to beat Stone Cold, but Stone Cold has to beat The Rock. But as far as I'm concerned, the belt is dangling, and we're both going for it. So I got one reason, and one reason only, to go inside that ring, and that is to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's just that simple. Well, I'm just going to go in there and back off just because I'm the champion.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I don't want you to be on defense the whole match. Yeah, I appreciate the fact that you want to beat Stone Cold as much as I need to beat you because I don't want you on defense all night long. I appreciate the fact that you want to whip my It ain't going to happen, but I appreciate your mentality.
Oh, well, I'm glad you appreciate my mentality. I'm glad you appreciate the fact that I want to whip you so much. But see how much you'll appreciate it on April 1st. See how much you'll appreciate it then.
You know what? You got that little T-shirt that says "Just Bring It" on the front of it. Well, that night when you're looking up at the lights and that little T-shirt says "Just Bring It," you will know that Stone Cold just brought up it.
Yeah. Well, you got your little T-shirt right there too, Austin 316. Austin 316 says I just whipped your right. Well, I say just bring it. You say I just whipped your. So on April 1st, why don't you just come try and whip The Rock?
Obviously, the emotion, and I understand the emotion because of what's at stake.
All right, so that's, I'll just play that. A little more after that, but anyway, the point is, you don't see stuff like that anymore. Like, you don't. And what did happen to that? Like, talking about, you know, about strategy and what type of strategy you're going to have going into the match and all that. What happened to all that? They don't talk about that anymore. What happened to the whole, hey, you got to beat the champion. He doesn't have to beat you. Like, what happened to that? You know what happened to that? You know what happened? Stephanie McMahon hears stuff like that and thinks, well, that's not drama. Well, that's not a good storyline. She thinks she knows better than a working formula. Stephanie thinks she knows better than this. At this time, never were the ratings this high. Ever. More people were watching wrestling when this happened. When they were doing stuff like this, more people were watching wrestling, right, than watch wrestling today. So obviously, you know, this formula isn't quite working, right? You know, they don't talk about the matches anymore. You know, they don't talk about, you know, how meaningful the title is anymore. I mean, they don't talk about the sacrifice and all this that I have to do to win the title. They just don't talk that language anymore. Probably because half of the fucking roster is the former world champion. Because now you could be a jobber now. This is the same title, by the way. That title that they fought for, that championship, that WWE championship, that headline WrestleMania 17 with The Rock and Stone Cold. That same championship is the one that Jinder Mahal won. Let that sink in. Let it sink in. And he won it after being a jobber and then winning a six-pack challenge. Then he became #1 contender, just like that. He didn't win any matches the whole year, but all of a sudden he was #1 contender. I mean, you can go back to even when Andre challenged, Hulk Hogan. It was about getting a chance for the title, right? Hogan saying, "Hey, if you wanted a title shot, you should have just asked me. You shouldn't have gone with his weasel, blah 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 blah." Right? Whatever it was, but it was about the title. If not, then what's the point of the championship if it's not important? What's the point? But anyway, I digress, right? This is DStyle, okay? And let me see if I can pull up the chat here really quick before I go, in fairness. And he stepped down. Wow. Well, he didn't step down completely. He stepped down from certain positions. Triple H takes credit for the NXT shit. Binomar, bro, you are a loyal wrestling fan. I was the biggest fan during the Attitude Era. Vader was my guy. The Rock in the Versace shirts. K-Dog in WCW. K-Dog, trying to remember him. Dean Malenko, the man of 1,000 hold, but WWE is ass now. Well, it is. Trey Todd, I'm so disappointed in WWE and the direction it's headed. Locked In says, it's his shit. You are lame. How dare he run his company? Because it's his daughter, you idiot. What credentials did Russo have? Locked In is butthurt, apparently. There you go. Ben Humar, Locke, shut the fuck up, guy. It's not that serious. WWE is not your wife. Vince is ruthless human, period. What's up, Mr. Doc? Dude played with the show must go on card when Owen died due to his idiotic, flawed stunt planning. Well, that is true. So Doc, I can't even describe and do it justice, but check out the documentary on Owen where they describe how they planned the stunt that killed him. Wow. Mr. Doc, I swear your first thought will be, are you fucking kidding me? Joe right there is a great example of what Bobby the Brain Heenan meant when he said sometimes as simple as just pretending that you're doing it for real. Yeah. that's pretty much, that's what they're doing. Deborah and her cookies, Prodigy, Austin Rock, GOAT Wrestling Feud. Prodigy A up there with classics like Flair versus Steamboat, Von Erichs versus Freebirds, NWO versus Horseman, Savage, Hogan, yep, fuck the Freebirds, faggots. Mr. Doc, well, I meant in the ring, not as human beings, but I get you. Savage, Hogan, Rock, Austin, two best feuds of all time. Mr. Doc, I love Savage's promo when he burst out of his dressing room, shoved the interviewer aside, and jumped over the falling cameraman, screaming, "I'm ready, Hogan. I'm ready, Hulk Hogan. Oh, yeah." Wolfpack's shit in the NWO was the shit. Was great. Savage was a fucking savage. Well, there you go. Yep. Scott Hall was way underrated as a worker, in my opinion, and the Monday Night Wars years was the only time I saw Kevin Nash actually take serious bumps, and he didn't get injured somehow. Mr. Doc Waltman was a great worker before he broke his neck, too. Yeah, they're all good, man. That's for sure. Better than a lot of these cats now. Anyways, guys, rate those comments. This is DStyle.